customers face-to-face inside, where we help arrange for service and receive payment, as well as outside, where we plan for the service needed. Then install it, repair it, and collect coins from boxes, or whether we're among those whose efforts are unseen and unheard by the public that we all serve. Working with equipment, turning out the best, planning what is needed, where it's to go, watching its cost, putting it into the nationwide network, keeping the equipment free of dirt and trouble, or whether we are working with papers, getting out orders for service, and bills with extra attention to accuracy and promptness, processing payments, records and letters with an extra touch of neatness and dispatch. No matter what our job, this story can begin with any of us, or for that matter, with any of the public we serve. The millions of customers who make millions of calls every hour a day, each one the most important thing of the moment.
Long distance.
Operator, can you help me reach my wife? I was supposed to meet her this afternoon downtown in Richmond in Virginia, but my car broke down.
I'll be glad to help you. May I have your name and room number, please?
Yeah, sure. Henry Graham, room number 718.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Do you know where your wife is staying in Richmond?
Well, that's just it. I'm sure she must be at one of the hotels, but I don't know which one.
All right. I'll try to locate Mrs. Graham for you.
She's probably combing the hospitals and jails for me. Do your best, will you?
Certainly. It may take some time to check the Richmond hotels, but if you'll hang up, I'll call you back.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
No, lady. We haven't found your husband yet. But don't worry, we will. We've covered all the jails. Now we're starting to check the hospitals. Just don't worry. He's bound to turn up somewhere, one way or another.
Fine way to begin a vacation. Hello.
Mr. Graham?
That's right.
Mr. Graham, we've located Mrs. Graham for you.
What? Oh, that's wonderful, operator. Thanks a million.
You're welcome. Here's Mrs. Graham.
Yes, being helpful is part of everybody's job. Giving some extra touch of service, however little, is one of our greatest responsibilities. Because the people who pay for the service like to be treated that way, and because it makes the work itself more pleasant.
Long distance. Thank you. I am sorry they do not answer. I will call you in about 20 minutes.
Mr. Brown is not expected until tomorrow. Will you speak with anyone else?
Pleasant, dependable service from pleasant, dependable people. That's the heart of the telephone business. It's the basis for every procedure, however routine, which is passed on from generation to generation through training and by example. The big reason behind everybody's job is serving the customer in some vital way, no matter how far removed from him the work may seem. So ours is a story about the customers we serve, and the big, the little, the everyday things that we can do to make it more easy and pleasant for them to use the telephone and to deal with telephone people.
Well, you don't have to do that. I'm going to vacuum anyway.
Well, thanks, but we believe in leaving a place just the way we find it.
Well, that's very considerate. Now, if only...
Something else I can do?
No, I was just wondering whether I would ever get Bobby here to learn the same lesson.
That extra touch, the trifling little thing that can make the big, sometimes a tremendous difference between cold routine and satisfying service.
Have you called the telephone company yet?
I'm doing it now.
Well, don't be long about it. Breakfast's nearly ready.
Repair service is Fremont speaking.
Hello? This is Frederick J. Williamson out on Carmen Avenue. There's something the matter with our telephone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Williamson. What is your telephone number, please?
It's 98772. We've got an extension in my workshop. Last night when I was working out there, I knocked over a bottle of turpentine. Some of it must have got on the wires because since then we've been getting kind of a buzzing sound.
Well, that's a shame, Mr. Williamson. Oh, I can hear it now. We can take care of it by 12 o'clock. Will somebody be there?
Well, can't you send somebody a little earlier? We're going out in a couple of hours and expect to be gone all day.
I'll find out if we can do it any sooner. Will you hold the line just a moment, please?
Sure.
Are they going to fix it?
Yeah.
Well, come get your breakfast. Thank you for waiting, Mr. Williamson. We can take care of it by 11 o'clock. Is that all right?
Well, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What were you talking about so long?
Oh, it wasn't so long, Martha. I told the girl we were going out in a couple of hours, and she took the trouble to make sure the phone would be taken care of before we left.
Seeing is believing.
I think she really meant it. Hello?
Mr. Williamson?
Yes.
This is the telephone repair service. I've got a report that your line is noisy, and I'm testing it to find the trouble.
Oh, fine. Can you hear it?
Yes, I can hear it. We'll have to send a man out to repair it. I understand he won't be home after 11.
Yes, that's right.
Then we'll make sure he gets there before you leave.
Oh, that's fine. Well, thanks very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Williamson. Goodbye.
There, you see, they're working on the line already.
Well, I still say people will promise anything these days.
Yeah, maybe so. But these folks sounded like they really meant it. And they were mighty nice about it, too.
Through their voices alone, they gave him a feeling of friendly efficiency, of confidence in their promise, confidence in those who would keep that promise, confidence that they and their company can be depended on.
How's it look, Jim? Okay?
Okay.
One more touch of dependable, pleasing, friendly service. A blending of people and materials to form pathways that carry messages to distant ears and return the distant reply. These pathways of communication are kept in service even while others are being changed through the extra skill and care of those who realize that the wires they handle are channels for vital, living conversations. But even though the man in the street may be impressed by the intricacies of wire and cable, he likes his service with the warmth of a human touch. In our business offices, it takes people, pleasant, courteous, dependable people, to represent our company to customers on a wide variety of matters, such as payment of bills, orders for service, criticisms or commendations, and inquiries about any company services or operations. Such service requires people. People who can listen with understanding while the customer tells his story in his own way.
Good morning. Won't you be seated?
Oh, good morning. I came in here because I want to make a complaint.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Won't you tell me about it? And I'm sure I can help you.
You see, I have a party line, and the other person seems to use it all the time. It talks forever. Why, only this morning...
To be good, the service must, of course, be accurate, complete, and free from delay.
And now, Mr. Avery, I'd like to verify the spelling of your name as it'll appear in our directory. Then anyone looking for your telephone number will be able to find it, and you won't lose any of your calls. Oh, yes, it's so important. Will you check with me while I spell your name? All right, now your last name, Avery. That's A, V as in Victor, E as in Edward.
But efficiency alone is not enough. To be really good, our service must reflect the company as a friendly, understanding, and reasonable organization of people.
While you're away, Mr. Winslow, I think the best arrangement would be to have your service only temporarily disconnected. Then you can be sure of keeping your present telephone number, and your service can be reconnected for you whenever you're ready for it.
We depend on our people to give customers' problems personal and individual consideration, rather than routine treatment.
I'm sorry to hear of your husband's illness and hope that he makes a quick recovery. In view of the circumstances, we shall be glad to extend the time for payment of the bill for 2 weeks until the 15th, as you requested.
And finally, to be successful, we depend on our people to be sincerely interested in serving customers and to have a genuine spirit of helpfulness.
You can be sure, Mr. Peterson, we'll do our best to help improve the service on your party line.
That'll be fine, and thanks again, Miss Marsh.
You're entirely welcome.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Behind those of us who deal directly with customers are others who give their work an extra touch to make sure that the promises we make are kept. That's why orders for telephone service must be accurate in every detail, so that the right customer will be billed the right amount. The right line will be selected and connected to the right places. The right equipment will be ordered out. And the man to install it will be there when the customer expects him. Similarly, every listing for the directory is checked and double-checked for accuracy of every detail before the order is typed, while it is typed, after it is typed. And making up the directory itself requires the same extra touch of painstaking accuracy. Every one of thousands of listings must be correct, clear, and in the proper place. Every name, every address, every telephone number must be right, must be clear, so that it will be easy for anyone to find the correct number of any telephone he may want to call. For the telephone has become a servant indispensable for modern living, thanks in no small measure to the efforts of those pioneers who helped overcome its early difficulties. Each had his own separate problem, but all were inspired by the same idea, to make the telephone more and more dependable, easy and pleasant to use for more and more people. The solution of one problem led on to the solutions of others. A noise taken out or a sound made louder led to more distant connections. Each contribution enabled the human voice to come through more clearly from farther and farther away. Other devices made it possible to switch each telephone to more and more telephones over longer and longer distances. At first, across a street. Then from city to city. From coast to coast. Until today, the very skies and the oceans themselves are spanned by invisible pathways for the human voice. At the same time, some of us worked and still work on the instrument itself to make it ever more efficient and easy to use, while others of us worked with customers, helping them to select the service best suited to their needs. The combination of perfected equipment and improved service has made of today's telephone an invalued servant, more than worth the cost. Good service has meant good business for everyone concerned.
Excuse me, but I couldn't help noticing that pin you wear. Are you with the telephone company?
Yes. I'll be getting a new one soon for my 25th year.
Oh, a big business career, eh? Start at the bottom and land at the top.
Well, I've got the ways to go yet, but I can't kick. I've made pretty good progress during the past few years, thanks to our expansion program.
You know, maybe you could tell me something.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I'm just a small manufacturer, but we've also grown. And I find it's getting harder and harder to keep in touch with our customers personally.
You're no longer able to call them all by their first name.
Exactly. Yet, as big as the telephone business is, you people have never let it become cold and impersonal, what the editorial writers call a soulless corporation.
Well, we've always recognized that as being a real danger.
And I think you've met it quite successfully. For instance, take what happened to me this morning. I was making a call from a telephone booth in the railroad station.
Andre's Beauty Salon.
Who?
Andre's Beauty Salon. Miss LaSalle speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Must have dialed the wrong number. Now how am I going to get the operator? Oh, well.
Operator.
I just dialed and got a wrong number. I'm out of change and put in a quarter to get you. If you'll dial the number for me, you can keep the change.
I'm sorry you had trouble, sir. I'll return the coin.
Oh, what do you know?
What number were you calling, please?
Main 02165.
Thank you. I'll be glad to try it for you. Andre's Beauty Salon, Miss LaSalle.
Why, it's you again.
Is this main 02165?
Yes, it is.
There seems to be some difficulty. One moment, please. You're connected with main 02165, sir. Are you sure you're called the right number?
Apparently not. I want the Harrington Pump Company.
Shall I give you information?
Please do.
One moment, sir. Miss LaSalle, I'm sorry you were called by mistake.
Information?
Will you check the telephone number of the Harrington Pump Company on South Street? I tried main 02165. It got someone else.
I'd be glad to. The number is main 02156.
2156? Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
This is the operator. Did you get the right number, sir?
Yes, it's main 02156. Somebody wrote it down backward.
Just a moment and I'll get it for you.
Sure appreciate your trouble.
You're welcome.
All that service and I still have my quarter. Just how do you people do it?
Well, all we try to remember is that no matter how large our business may grow, it's still made up of individual customers, each of whom likes to be known as a person, not as a number.
Well, that sounds simple enough.
But it's extremely difficult to carry out. When you're handling thousands of problems, it's easy to forget that to each individual customer, the only thing that matters is his own particular problem.
Well, exactly what do you do to get the idea across and make it stick, especially among those of your employees who may never come directly in contact with the public?
Well, that's a long story. Actually, there's no one thing we can do. What's happened, I think, is that we've developed sort of a tradition about how we try to live and work, remembering always that we're just people dealing with other people, both inside and outside the company.
Then what it boils down to is the golden rule. Treat others the way you yourself like to be treated. You've got it.
Phone's dead.
Well, no wonder. That storm we had a few hours ago must have knocked it out. Frankly, I thought the house was going to fall in.
Well, it's all over now.
That's this country life for you. Every time it sprinkles, we're cut off from civilization.
Who could that be?
Well, since I don't really know, I'd hate to guess.
I'm the telephone man.
Come on in, our telephone's dead.
Just put your hat back there.
Look what I found. One telephone man. Says he wants to try our phone.
Well, it's a good trick if you can do it. It's dead.
That's what I told him.
I just stopped in to test it.
You're kind of wet, aren't you?
Only on the outside, ma'am.
I bet the inner man's plenty dry.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, well, thanks very much.
How come you're out this direction?
Well, the storm knocked down some wires a few hours ago. We got every man we could to put them back in service again.
Cream or sugar?
No, thanks. Suppose I look at your telephone.
Oh, yes. Looks natural, don't you think? That's because it's dead, you know.
Number, please.
Oh, hello, operator. Just testing.
This I gotta hear.
Number, please.
Well, hello, operator.
Operator.
No, just testing.
You see, I was working on your line at the pole, and I wanted to make sure your telephone was all right.
Well, it sure is darn good service.
I think so,
Thanks.
too.
That is how emergencies can be met and smoothed away by helpful, friendly people giving dependable service, whatever or wherever the job may be. Good citizens doing a good job. That's the reputation that we want to continue to have wherever we go. for it's a reputation that carries over into our personal living.
Well, Miss Fremont, we'll be glad to open a charge account for you. Can you give me a reference or two?
Well, I'm with the telephone company.
Oh, fine. Say, by the way, do you happen to know a Dorothy Larson? She works there, too.
I can't seem to place her. Do you know what she does?
No, but she goes to our church. She's an awfully nice girl and capable, too. We depend on her a lot to keep things going.
That's how telephone people will be recognized off the job as friendly, dependable citizens. So long as on the job and as part of the job, we try to treat our customers better than they may expect. Not only because that's the kind of people we like to be, but because it's good business. The more our customers like the service, the more they use it, and the more the business grows, with greater opportunities for everyone in it. But the bigger the business, the more necessary it becomes to watch the little things that keep the public's liking and respect. Only then will they continue to feel they can depend on us, and that even if they could, they wouldn't want to take their telephone business anywhere else. And since this is too big an order for any one person or department to handle alone, good service, friendly service, still is and always will be everybody's job.